Say you've got $250,000 saved up. What do you do with it? You could throw it into stocks, buy a rental property, or open a coffee shop. At first glance, the coffee shop looks like the obvious moneymaker. A customer walks in, orders a latte for $5. The beans in that cup probably cost less than $1. So your brain does the math and goes, wait, that's an insane profit margin. And then you look around the shop. It's packed. People are lining up every morning. There's a display case full of pastries, sandwiches are moving, online orders keep pinging in, the register never stops ringing. It genuinely looks like the owner must be swimming in cash. But here's the catch. A busy coffee shop can still be a terrible investment, because revenue isn't profit, and profit isn't automatically wealth. So today, let's actually follow the money, from the moment someone decides to open a coffee shop, all the way to the question that actually matters. Can a coffee shop really make you rich? Let's call our entrepreneur Alex. Alex has worked for years and saved around $250,000. He's done being someone else's employee. One morning, he walks into a popular coffee shop near a busy business district, and it's chaos in the best way. People ordering lattes, office workers grabbing breakfast, students lined up for iced coffee. He checks the prices. $5 for a latte. $6 for something fancier. $8 to $10 for a breakfast combo. And he starts doing quick math in his head. Say the average customer spends $7. Say the shop sees 300 customers a day. That's $2,100 a day. Times 30 days, that's $63,000 a month. Annually, that's $756,000 in sales. Alex thinks, if this place is doing $750,000 a year, the owner has to be rich. And that's exactly where Alex makes his first mistake. He's looking at revenue, not profit. A business can pull in $750,000 in sales and still leave the owner with surprisingly little. Let's break down why. Before Alex sells a single cup of coffee, his money is already disappearing. First, the location, and location is everything. A prime downtown spot brings serious foot traffic, but it also comes with serious rent. Then there's construction. Walls need work, the electrical system might need upgrading, plumbing might need attention. Then comes equipment. Espresso machines, grinders, fridges, freezers, ovens, dishwashers, ice machines, display cases, furniture, lighting, a point-of-sale system, security, signage. Then licenses, insurance, professional fees, and initial inventory on top of that. And here's an expense first-time owners almost always underestimate: working capital. Alex needs money left over after opening, because the business probably won't be profitable right away. Maybe the first month is slow. Maybe the second one's slower. Equipment breaks. Construction runs late. Sales come in under projection. If Alex spends every last dollar just opening the doors, he could end up with a gorgeous coffee shop and zero cash to actually run it. That's the real point of starting capital. It's not just about opening, it's about surviving long enough to become profitable. Alex finally opens. A customer walks in and orders a $5 latte. He looks at that transaction. Coffee, milk, a cup, maybe $1 in ingredients, if that. So he sees the leftover and thinks, I just made $4. He didn't. That $4 still has to cover employees, rent, electricity, water, insurance, cleaning, repairs, credit card fees, software, marketing, licenses, taxes, waste, equipment maintenance, and a dozen other things quietly eating into it. This is one of the biggest lessons in business. The price tag on a product tells you almost nothing about what the owner actually keeps. A $5 coffee is not $5 of profit. And even a huge gross margin doesn't automatically mean a huge net profit. Part 4. Follow the $63,000, 7 to 9 o'clock. Back to that hypothetical $63,000 a month. Sounds amazing on paper. Now watch the money actually leave the building. A big chunk goes to ingredients and packaging. Another big chunk to wages. Then rent. Then utilities. Then insurance. Then maintenance. Then tech and payment processing. Then marketing. Then taxes. Let's say, after all of that, Alex is left with $8,000 a month. That's $96,000 a year. Suddenly the picture looks completely different. Alex didn't earn $756,000. The business generated $756,000. His actual take-home is dramatically smaller. And remember, he put $250,000 into building this thing in the first place. So now the real question shows up. Was making $96,000 a year worth risking $250,000? Maybe. But we need to dig deeper. The next number every business owner has to know cold: break even. Below break even, you're losing money. At break even, you're just surviving. Above it, you can actually start making profit. Say Alex's shop needs about $45,000 a month just to cover its costs. His average customer spends $7. That means he needs roughly 6,430 transactions a month, which works out to over 200 transactions every single day. So Alex isn't just selling coffee. He's fighting to get 200 plus people through the door daily just to cross the line between losing money and making it. And that's exactly why foot traffic matters so much. A beautiful shop with weak traffic can fail. A plain shop in a high-demand spot can crush it. Picture two coffee shops. Same menu, same prices, same quality, same staff size. One difference: location. Shop A sits next to a busy train station, thousands of people passing every day. Shop B is on a quiet street, barely any traffic. Shop A probably pays more rent, but it also has access to way more potential customers. Shop B has cheap rent, but cheap rent means nothing if almost nobody walks in. That's the real calculation every owner has to make. Does the extra revenue from a better spot justify the extra cost? That's business economics in one sentence. Cost versus revenue. Risk versus return. Capital versus profit. A coffee shop doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's competing for a limited pool of people spending money. Here's another interesting layer. Coffee isn't always the whole opportunity. A customer who walks in for coffee might also grab a pastry, a sandwich, a cookie, a bottled drink, or come back later for a second coffee. That pushes up the average transaction. Say Alex bumps his average spend from $7 to $9. At 300 customers a day, that's $2,700 daily, or $81,000 a month, $18,000 more than before. But here's the part people miss. Alex doesn't just pocket that extra $18,000. Those extra items have their own costs. More ingredients, more labor, more waste, more packaging. So chasing more sales is fine, but what actually matters is the profit those extra sales bring in. Smart owners don't just chase revenue. They track the economics of every single product on the menu. Let's go back to that $250,000. Alex put it all into the coffee shop. But he had other options: stocks, real estate, bonds, a different business entirely. Economists call this opportunity cost. Every choice comes with the road not taken. If Alex invests $250,000 and eventually nets $50,000 a year in profit, that might be a solid return. But he also has to ask himself, how much of that is actually a return on his money, and how much of it is just payment for his own labor? Because a coffee shop isn't passive. Alex is working evenings, managing staff, dealing with suppliers, handling complaints, tracking inventory, fixing broken equipment, making 100 small decisions a month. So if Alex says, "I made $100,000 this year," the real question is, how much of that was investment return, and how much was just him paying himself a salary through the business? That distinction matters more than people think. The real goal was never to own one coffee shop. The real goal is to build something valuable. Imagine Alex builds an actual system: standardized menu, trained staff, tracked inventory, organized suppliers, automated accounting, managers running the day-to-day, consistent marketing, a brand people recognize. Now Alex isn't the one making every latte anymore. The business runs on systems, not on him. That's when things get interesting. He opens a second location, then a third, maybe a fourth. Each one has its own revenue, its own costs, its own risks. But Alex has built something bigger than a single shop, a business system. And that system might be worth more than its yearly profits suggest. Someone might actually want to buy it. That's where real wealth gets built. But growth isn't automatically a good thing. If Alex opens 5 stores too fast, suddenly he's dealing with more employees, more rent, more inventory, more equipment, more management headaches, more debt, more problems. If sales don't keep pace, expansion can wreck his cash flow completely. That's why some businesses collapse while they're technically growing. They're not losing money on every sale. They just don't have enough cash to keep up with how fast they're expanding. A smart owner understands one simple truth: growth needs capital, and capital always has a cost. So, can a coffee shop actually make you rich? Yes, but not because coffee is magic, and not because a $5 latte has some insane markup. A coffee shop builds wealth when the owner actually understands the numbers. Strong demand, controlled costs, smart location economics, healthy margins, reliable cash flow, repeat customers, tight operations, and eventually, a business that can run without the owner doing everything themselves. Here's the biggest lesson of all: revenue is not wealth. A shop pulling in $1 million a year isn't automatically better than one pulling in half that. The real question is, how much is actually left after everything gets paid? And the even bigger question, how much capital and effort did it take to get that number? Because that's what investing really is. You don't just want your money moving. You want your capital to produce a return that's actually worth the risk you took. So if you're thinking about opening a coffee shop, don't start with how many coffees can I sell. Start with, how much capital do I actually need? What's my break-even point? What's my realistic profit margin? How much cash will this business really generate? And most importantly, is the return actually worth the risk? A coffee shop can make you money. A great one can make you a very good living. But a scalable, well-run coffee business can become something else entirely, a genuinely valuable asset. And that's the real difference between selling coffee and building wealth from it. If you want more deep dives into the businesses, investments, and economic systems behind everyday money, subscribe. Because we're not just asking how much money a business makes, we're following the money from the first dollar all the way to the final profit.